Hello, welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another mod that is literally hell. So this thing that I'm currently standing on top of is called the G7-D Hell's Iris, which is this lovely thing all the way over here. So this is a modded planet with a massive red ring all around this thing that's so impressive that the more you get closer to it and the further away you go, the more it changes. So here we are, we've got multiple rings all the way around it, but if we get further and further away, what's going to happen is, it just goes and shrinks down to a little ball. Moving closer again, and there it is, it just pops out. It's such a magnificent effect, whether it's intended or not, it's just absolutely fantastic to move forwards and backwards inside of. But no, this is a absolute hellish planet that only has silicon for its surface. There is no stone on this, so it's no using survival kits to build up all your basic resources. No, you actually got to go out and about and find all the resources, which, well, contains iron, silicon, nickel, cobalt, magnesium, gold and silver, and ice. So you got all the basics there to, well, hopefully get you off the planet. That's going to be bloody difficult, because, well, the gravity on this planet is 3 Gs. So yes, even using your jetpack to try and escape these spiders, you're not going to be able to lift up. This is me holding down spacebar, and, well, nothing is going to be able to help you, unless you were to fly in a diagonal direction, like so. Be able to move forwards once again. We'll rapidly come down to the ground. Anyway, give myself a gun so I can actually deal with these spiders. That'll do quite nicely. Now we should get rid of all these. So yes, spiders are the natural inhabitants of this planet, and there are lots and lots of them, to the point you're going to be basically continuously shooting spiders on your adventure. Anyway, hiding all of that, go back into the free camera, and getting a little bit close over here. It's time to have a little venture around this planet to see what it has to offer. And then we'll go through all the weather effects, because it does have some very nice custom weather effects. So I'm not too sure why I went back to that free camera. I kind of want to be in the character itself. And I suppose what I will do is, well, spawn in a small ship. So with this, what I'm going to do is spawn in the good old Dex Fighter, a atmospheric only ship. And, well, I'm going to show you how well this thing can fly on the planet and hopefully get around the place. And, well, show you all the different stuff this planet has to offer. So yes, the gravity is so high that this thing cannot stay up in the air. Even holding down spacebar is not going to take off. To be able to get this thing to take off, I've got to angle it, so I can use both the rear and the bottom thrusters together. And there we are, I've now taken off. I can sort of fly this thing around. So this planet all around here has got some lovely flat surfaces for you to build on. We've got mountain sides, we've got lots of little crevices for you to hide inside of. But in terms of features, there's not actually too much going on here. Around this area is pretty much all you're going to see around this planet, which makes it very barren, makes it very hard to actually have landscapes to use as a natural marker. And, well, you could have just a lot of fun getting trapped on here and trying to escape. But I suppose what I will do, because it's going to be a lot easier with the free camera now, is to pan all around this thing, so getting a bit closer. So here we have some more lumps and bumps. Here to move around. There's the little atmospheric surface, with all the little red zigzags, which is very much like the iris of an eye. Or to me, it's more like a red web, red ominous web surrounding all this planet. Yes, like I said, there's mountains. Lovely bits of flat areas for you to build on. I suppose we'll come up to this section right here, which is one of the tallest mountains on this planet. So dropping my character over to this section, and spinning it around, we will come crashing down to the ground. There we go. And the hell of a lot of spiders have just popped out. Bring the sunlight back around. There we go. I'll just hop out of this, grab hold of my gun. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Here we are. And here's the massive swarm of spiders that you have to deal with if you don't actually deal with them in a reasonable amount of time. That's one hell of a lot of spiders, to the point this is basically becoming, well, near impossible to survive. This is what's in survival mode, unless you have a fully automated weapon. So I can just jetpack up a little bit to escape. No, I cannot. Hopping into the cockpit. There they all are around me. And, well, that's not going to help me in the slightest. So coming out of here, finding a better gun. It might be easy just to have some mods weapons in this world, like flamethrower mod, or some kind of shotgun. That'd be a lot better for dealing with these. But no, there's one hell of a lot of spiders on this planet, and suppose you could have a lot of fun trying to play this as a horde survival mode, if you want to do that. But no, back into the free camera once again, just flying around here. The mountain size here are absolutely massive compared to the, well, lower end of this planet. It is very similar to the Earth-like planet with the overall design of this thing, so the highs and lows are going to be very similar to that, as it states on the Steam Workshop page. And, well, just going to pan around a bit more, hiding all of that. And there we are, so we can see the mountain side just sticking up slightly above the atmospheric effects. Yes, moving away once again, looking at this whole effect around this area. So we've got like a little inner ring right there that goes all the way around this thing. They've got the outer ring, which is 2 separate rings. So we've got that one, then a second one, which is very close behind it. That's what it looks like from a distance. It's absolutely magnificent with how it works. But no, that does not represent the actual overall gravitational field of this planet. The actual gravitational pull of the planet very close to the Earth-like planet. So it'll be roughly roundabout over here before you actually start to get dragged down to the planet. Which is a lovely effect to be far away from it. And well, makes it very unique compared to other planets. Anyway, once again, we're going to come over to this section, land myself down, because it's time to play around with the weather effects. And I believe that'll be basically it for this planet, apart from shooting more spiders as they spawn all the way around. Grabbing hold of this, I'm now down onto the ground. Where are the spiders? Well, it looks like they are still up on that mountainside. Hopefully it'll take a little bit of time to come over to me, so I can actually get through this. So coming into here, pressing Alt F10, over to this section, and finding the weather. The first one we're going to go through is the haze effects. Because they're not in any order, it'll take a little bit of time for me to actually find this thing. There's the hell haze. We're now going to create this. And here we go. So this is a lovely ominous effect. A red glow all the way around me. And a dust storm to boot, which makes it bloody difficult to see anything going on. And I thought you saw a shadow of a spider. Yes, there is a spider over there. A tiny one, in fact. And that's what it looks like from a distance. This is, well, like I said, an absolute hellish adventure on this planet. But you never know what you're going to actually find here. And you never know if you're going to crash into a mountainside if you fly around at high speeds or drive around in a land vehicle. Gonna get rid of this. There we go, that's a lot better and a lot more clearer. The next one to go through is for the stone showers, where this is going to be like a mini meteor storm or more akin to the rain effects on the Earth-like planets. So again, Alt F10 finding this, and down to the stone showers. There it is, and creating the effects. And here we go. So we've got that spider just jumping in and out. He's not quite attacking me. Let's go get rid of him. That'll do. And there we are. So we've still got the red haze all around us. It's very hard to see anything going on here, especially at night. If I was to remove the sunlight, there we go. You just can't see the character anymore. And in first person view, this is all you can see all around me. The only part of color that you can see on the screen is from the glamour effect on my gun and the odd shadow from the spiders just popping in and out. Yes, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be something going on with this effect, like an actual stone dropping from the sky. Not really sure if it's an actual bug or not, or whether I'm missing something with this planet, like an optional mod. But no, that's all this one actually does. And we'll go get rid of this one, remove the effects, there we go. I'll bring the sunlight background once again. There we are with that. And what I might do is just spawn in a large land vehicle, hop inside to actually try and stop them from all popping in and out and creating a bunch of smoke, hiding up all the effects. And here we go, just spawn in the good old rescue rover, because it's got a nice little flat surface at the back there for me to stand on top of. And here we go for the next weather effect, which is called the micro meteor shower. So once again to the weather menu. And finding that somewhere down to here. So there it is, the micro meteorites, creating that. And here we go once again with the massive red fog. But after a short delay, we should see, there we go, a rain effect of, well, micro meteors just coming down to the ground. Of course, it is just rain at the end of the day. Again, there could be an actual effect that goes along with this that I'm completely missing with an optional mod, or something that they just messed up in the settings. But no, that's all this one does. Yes, yet again, it is bloody difficult to see anything around here when that is active. So what I'm going to do is now remove that one more time and go through the final weather effect, which is the high velocity meteorites. So into here, finding that one. There it is, creating that. And here we go again. So it's not as dense, the actual red colouring, the red fog, but instead of having that actual, or not being able to see, instead we've got a dust storm, which is so hard to see anything that, well, it's just as bad. Looking away from here. And there we go. In fact, I can't even see the rover anymore. There's just so much fog or so much dust being kicked up. That, well, yes, you're going to have a terrible time driving around in this weather effect when it becomes active. Go to stop that. There we go. And that's about it for this planet. But I suppose what I can do is come into this actual rover itself, drive around for a bit, and actually dig down into the ground to show you what's going on with that. I believe that will be basically it for this planet, because I would have covered pretty much everything. Now it seems to be stuck there because of the high gravity. Find the actual doorway to get inside this thing, because I completely forgot how to get inside this thing. Oh, there we go, there's a lovely doorway, lovely convenient doorway. So I've come on the inside, no spiders have followed me, all the way up and around. And into the cockpit we go. So yes, as you can see there is no auction on this planet, so you've got to make sure you are, well, pretty much sorted in terms of that on your vehicle before coming down to here. But here we go. So because of the high gravity, we're not going to be able to activate our jumping. And if we were to jump, we're not going to be able to get too high. There we are. And of course, moving forwards, there's going to be one hell of a lot of smoke kicked up to the bank there because I did damage to the bank. But yes, we're going to drive around here on this lovely flat surface. It's actually fantastic to drive around on a land vehicle, not so much in an air vehicle because you will come crashing down to the ground if you don't have enough thrust to keep you off the ground. But no, driving over these lumps and bumps, especially in a small vehicle, is going to be pretty lethal due to the fact it does want to tip all the way down. So as you see there, as I go over a slight lump, the whole front of the vehicle wants to come down to the ground very, very quickly, which if you're low to the ground, it's going to cause a lot of damage. In the first person view, driving around here, and there we go, we suddenly dip down as the gravity grips hold and pulls us all the way down. And that's another thing, while I'm thinking of it, they do have to watch out for, which I did test earlier, which I'm not going to go through in this video, is going uphill. So you might be in a scenario where you're in a tiny little vehicle and want to go up a small little hill. Where, well, that was not meant to happen. Yes, when you go up a hill, because of the high gravity, you're not going to be able to get up the hill without assist thrusters because of just how hard it is to go all the way up a slight incline. Anyway, enough of the land vehicles, time to spawn in a air vehicle. And I think what I am going to do is try the good old Albatross, because that's a very big ship, lots of hydrogen thrusters all around this thing. Not sure how I'm going to be able to get up to it if I spawn it too high. So come rounds. And I suppose if I was to, say, put it down like so, I'll do the little thing where if I fly diagonally, I might be able to get better heights. So if I'm being very careful not to tilt it too high, otherwise it will come plummeting down to the ground for whatever reason. But here we are, now up here, getting rid of some of these. Here I am in the ceiling, and there is his seeds. Fighting it into a ship. There we go. Lifting it up. And now letting go. And there we are. Despite having that many thrusters on this ship, that many hydrogen thrusters, that many large atmospheric thrusters, this thing cannot keep itself up in the air. Tilting it up and trying to use the rear thrusters as well, trying to get any kind of speed away from this thing. And it looks like I am just permanently stuck down on this planet. Here we come again. I'm going to make sure those landing legs are not going to keep locking in place. And here we come all the way forwards. All I can do with this thing is simply drag it around because it's just not enough to actually lift the whole vehicle up, which is going to be a massive problem if you do have a large ship in orbit. And when you get too close, it's going to be pretty much impossible to actually escape the atmosphere. But as you can see right here, we are perfectly fine with the actual atmospheric gravity and planetary gravity. Coming down a bit further, I'm going to drive straight towards it, slam straight into it. And so here we are, we're now way past the Earth-like planet, trying to make this thing come to a stop by tilting it up. There we go. And, well, it looks like we are past the point of no return. We are just slowing down, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We're going to get to the point where we're just going to keep increasing speed. There it is right there. So now there's no hope of me escaping this planet. I'm going to crash down, and we'll have to try and escape this planet by strapping on more thrusters onto a smaller ship. Here we come down. And there we go, with a massive explosion, and just go and get kicked away. Yes, digging down into the ground, here we go, so I'm going to just use the left mouse button first of all. And there we are, we've got silicon instead of rock, or stone, and that's all we get. We're going to keep digging down, putting on my signals. Nearby, of course, is going to be silicon. There's another bloody spider. And yes, the other ores on this planet is going to be quite hard to find unless you were driving around in a very set up rover or detector. But I believe with that, that's pretty much it for this planet, and all it has to offer. So yes, I saw this on the Workshop page, and it looks bloody fantastic for how it looks. I was even more impressed when I spawned into this world. And of course, if you don't know how to spawn these things into your world, you simply press Shift F10 on the keyboard. Not sure what it is on the controller. Find a planet. Spawn it in. And well, there you go. We now got overlapping planets. We're moving away. And there we are, just a fantastic effect all around this thing. That's the part that I really love about this planet. The part that I love most about this planet is just the layered effect around the outside, just getting a bit closer to it and moving away. It's just bloody fantastic. Anyway, yes, there'll be a link to it, switch below, do what you down and play around yourself. Highly recommend you do. I believe I have covered everything, so hopefully I did. And well, I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.